Check. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the weekly examination of politics and current events entitled Eyes to See, Vision Beyond the Narrative. With your host, Waddy Watts. This evening, there's a lot been going on in the current events sphere, don't you think? I came to you 30 minutes late today because I could not get this paper right. And I still don't like it. So I'm done fighting it, but I want to tell you that we are on to something. Through this little journey, those of you that are coming with me, it's not just my mind, but it could be yours if you would leave suggestions in the comments. Don't be scared. Have a discussion. What are we trying to do? We're trying to create better ideas, better analysis, better ways of seeing things. Get it? Eyes to see. So that deception doesn't overtake the world. It sounds like a simple task, but it seems insurmountable at this point. Now, one thing I got is a nice little summary of the first four essays, the first four shows, we should say. This is show number 5 of Eyes to See. We're doing one a week. We started in the 4th week of January. So, in essay 1, I established the premise that modern societies operate through managed perception rather than overt coercion. Now, I wanted to kind of go over these real quick. Summary of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Before I get into 5 and tell you what direction I'm going. Why? Because I need your help. I think we're on to something. I think I've uncovered something, not in these essays, but in the Grow Show. And the last 2 essays I did in the Grow Show has really sparked something in me in terms of identifying the current state of why people are the way they are and why they're so easily manipulated and deceived. And when that comes to politics, it's glaringly obvious, right? So, what did I say? Modern societies operate through managed perception rather than overt coercion. Coercion is when you put a gun to somebody's head and say, you better do this or I'll shoot you. And then we have levels of coercion, like you'll go to jail if you don't pay your taxes. You'll pay a price. If you punch somebody in the face, they'll sue you. But our societies are starting to operate more through manipulated perception rather than the gun of tyranny. Power works through narratives, incentives, and psychological compliance rather than chains and guns. So the powerful people aren't the ones walking around with guns. The powerful people are the ones creating the narratives, the incentives, and the psychological compliance. And in my opinion, it's not like a group of people. It's not like some backroom deal where people are smoking cigars, as you'll see in my paper. It's forces greater than human. It's forces. It's literally good versus evil. Darkness versus light. Lies versus truth. And that seems to be becoming more and more clear. The point is not partisan critique, but a structural one. People are governed by illusion, or people that are governed by illusions, they participate. My goodness, can I not read? People are governed by illusions they participate in maintaining. Get it? So basically, if we summarize essay 1, we say people are governed by illusions they participate in maintaining. So people choose illusion and participate in maintaining that illusion. It has nothing to do with truth. Moving on to essay 2, we destabilize the reader personally by asking the question, what if I'm wrong about everything? And we're basically attacking the reader's confidence in their own political identity, saying, okay, you know pretty much everything. You know why the society's going to shit, and you know why the Republicans are wrong or why the Democrats are wrong, and you're absolutely certain. But what if you're wrong about everything? So I'm using that question as a solvent to dissolve tribal certainty and force moral introspection. Dissolve the certainty that you got from your tribe by putting on your jersey for the Republicans or the Democrats. Dissolve that. Force yourself to look inside at your own morals. People can't do that. Commentators aren't doing that. YouTube shows aren't doing that. We're going to do it. You and I together are going to find this trail, this path, this road less traveled, where we cut through the bullshit and find out not only what's really underneath, but develop the ability to describe it. Develop the ability to communicate it with each other. So in essay 2, politics becomes secondary to character and intellectual honesty. That basically means we're setting aside building our life based on good character, and we're setting aside intellectual honesty, trying to find the truth, in favor of joining a political team. So third essay, we argued that certainty itself, I did, but you can come along if you'd like. We argued that certainty itself becomes pathological when borrowed rather than earned. The certainty essay, it's pathological when borrowed. So you're taking your certainty from the shows that you're watching. You're taking the certainty from the talking heads out there saying, me. I've never been like that. I don't care who you are. I'm going to question everything. Sometimes to a fault, but certainty borrowed and earned. Modern political discourse rewards exactly that sort of borrowed certainty. So it's a self-feeding system of we manufacture a borrowed certainty for you, and it cycles itself as a reward, an incentive. So we in this essay 3, we introduced a theological and epistemological constraint. Theological means understanding of God. Epistemological means how you get to know something. How do you know something? The constraint is that human beings are finite. We are not God. And therefore we're incapable of omniscience, which is all knowledge. Okay, so this is a good one. Human beings are finite and therefore incapable of the omniscience their political rhetoric implies. So it's like you hear everybody yapping at the top of their soapbox saying, you're wrong about this, and they're wrong about that, and they're obviously wrong about this, and that's political rhetoric. This borrowed certainty, they're out there spewing it as if they were omniscient, which means all-knowing. I know everything, therefore I have to be right. And I argued in that essay, it was like, you can't know everything, therefore you can't be right. You cannot be certain. I actually love that paper the most. You can't be certain, or that show. I encourage you to go back and watch it. Probably was the last one, wasn't it? Essay 4, if people are certain without a foundation and unwilling to examine their premises, then rhetoric replaces reasoning. the public sphere becomes a contest of persuasion rather than an investigation of truth. Without first principles, arguments drift into manipulation and force becomes the final referee. That's my analysis of essay 1 through 4. We picking up what I'm putting down? There's more analysis here. So the architecture of the series looks like this. Number 1, modern power works through man's perception. Number 2, tribal certainty prevents people from seeing it. Certainty itself is epistemologically fragile. And without first principles, rhetoric replaces reasoning. That's the simplest summary I can get from where we're at. We are moved from diagnosing the problem, looking introspectively at the problem, finding out how do we know epistemologically, stand by, bear with me. Yeah, it's basically more of the same. Essay number 5, the comfort of the lie. Picture a man sitting on his couch at midnight, lit blue by the glow of his phone. Trying to get all literary. He's angry, but it's a clean anger, a clean sort of anger. It doesn't cost him anything. He scrolls, he nods, he mutters, he grunts, he shares. Somewhere in his chest, there's the pleasant throb of being right. He doesn't know his neighbors' names. He couldn't change a tire without watching a video. He hasn't lifted anything heavy in years except his own grievances. Didn't I print that? Stand by. It's like, I changed that. No. Sorry for the delay here. Bear with me. I'm telling you, I was struggling with this one. We got draft after draft here. Yeah, it was this one. Picture man sitting on his couch. Okay, I don't know. Try that again. Start over. We're going to replay this. Essay number 5, the comfort of the lie. Settle in, ladies and gentlemen. We will get her done. Get your mind right. Start watering your plants. Or do what you got to do. Put it on 1.5 if that's what does it for you. And here we go. Essay number 5, the comfort of the lie. Picture a man sitting on his couch at midnight, lit by the glow of his phone. He's angry, but it's a clean anger. It doesn't cost him anything. He scrolls, he nods, he mutters, he shares, he grunts. Somewhere in his chest, there's a pleasant throb of being right. He doesn't know his neighbors' names. He couldn't change a tire without watching a video. He hasn't lifted anything heavy in years except his own complaints. See, I had grievances in the last one, and I was like, I don't like grievances. But he can tell you with perfect confidence why the country is collapsing and who did it. Now picture that same man in a kitchen with the power out. No screen, no feed, no chorus, just a dark house, a small child asking what's for dinner, and a refrigerator warming by the minute. Watch how fast his political certainty evaporates when that reality vanishes. That gap between the heat of opinion and the weight of consequence is a space where modern deception lives. Not in secret meetings with cigars and monocules, monocules. The little, you picture the guy with the little thing in his eye, monocular. It's not a mono. Yeah, anyway. In the ordinary arrangement of daily life that keeps people far from outcomes and close to explanations. Not in the secret meanings, but in the ordinary arrangement of daily life that keeps people far from outcomes, close to explanations. Most citizens do not directly produce the essentials that keep them alive. Food, water, energy, shelter, these arrive through systems so vast and abstract that the average person can't describe them beyond a slogan. The shelves are stocked. The lights are turned on. The water runs and the illusion quietly forms. This is just how reality is. It feels like nature. It's not nature. It's logistics, maintenance, competence, and a civilization of specialists keeping our world afloat like that. Hold on, I'm going to pull something up. Just give me one more second. Let's see, it would have been this one? Yeah. Okay, I got it. That gap between... Oh, wait, we did that. For most citizens... The primary instrument of political life now is not law, it's attention. Whoever captures attention shapes the emotional weather. And whoever shapes the emotional weather shapes the public sense of what is normal, what is urgent, and what is permitted to be said out loud. You can test this in a single day. Watch how quickly a manufactured outrage can erase yesterday's manufactured outrage. Watch how a complex policy becomes a two-word moral verdict the moment it hits the feed. That happens all the freaking time. What's the new one? I just heard it. It's always two words, too. It's like toxic empathy is the new one. And that's coming from the right, saying the left is toxic empathy of the left is what's destroying our country, letting, the rhetoric, the left does it too. They did it one time after another. You can write them down. Just always you'll hear it from all the news sources. They literally say the same two-word phrase. Anyway, moving on. The speed alone is the confession. So how fast you can wash away one outrage with another one. Like, you guys were really pissed about this yesterday, but now you've forgotten about it. Because now you're really pissed about this. The speed alone is a confession. Truth does not travel at the speed of dopamine. Put those two facts together and you get something ugly but clarifying. People are now dependent on systems they don't understand, while their minds are being trained by instruments that profit from their confusion. And then we act surprised when gaslighting works. Gaslighting is not merely lying, it's a form of domestication. It teaches you to distrust your own perception and borrow your eyes from whoever speaks the loudest. It doesn't have to convince you of a fully formed alternate reality. It only has to make you uncertain enough that you stop insisting on reality at all. Once that happens, you will accept almost any story that offers you relief. And relief is the currency. The lie pays in relief. Relief from responsibility. Relief from ambiguity, vagueness. Relief from the humiliating fact that you don't know what you're talking about as often as you think you do. Myself included. Relief from the burden of being a finite creature in a complex world. You get it? The lie pays in relief. The relief that we're getting through our politics, through our feeds, through our phones. That sense of warmth that says, I'm okay because I believe the right way. That's not real, people. It's not real. A well-designed political narrative does not begin by describing reality. It begins by offering a psychological product. This is a well-designed political narrative in the sense that they're deceiving you. Don't forget. It begins by offering a psychological product, innocence. It tells you that you are not to blame for the state of your life. It's not you or the state of your nation, the state of your conscience. It gives you a villain and hands you a moral purity as a consolation prize. It doesn't say, here are the trade-offs. It says, here is the enemy. It doesn't say, you might be wrong. It says, your doubt is proof of your goodness. That's not political analysis. That's anesthesia. And it works. Anesthesia meaning, putting yourself to sleep so that you forget reality. And it works because modern people are exhausted. Exhausted not from labor, but from meaning. They're drowning in information while starving for orientation. When a person is spiritually disoriented, the first voice that sounds confident feels like a lifeboat. It may be a lifeboat made of cardboard, but in a panic, you don't care about the material. You just climb on. The uglier part is what happens next. The narrative doesn't just comfort you, it recruits you. It offers you a role. Victim, hero, enlightened one, resistor, ally, patriot, defender of democracy, defender of the people, defender of freedom, defender of decency, defender of whatever sacred word happens to be trending this week. You social justice warrior, you. The role becomes identity. Identity becomes armor. Armor becomes blindness. Then reality arrives, quietly, stubbornly, and the armor must be defended. You see it every day. Someone points out an obvious contradiction. A policy doesn't do what it promised. A temporary emergency becomes permanent. You see that a lot. A fact check turns out to be a semantic trick. A lot of those too. A righteous crusade destroys the very people it claims to protect. Black Lives Matter. And instead of curiosity, you get rage. Not because the person has been insulted, but because their psychological product has been threatened. A person who needs the lie cannot afford to see clearly. I'll restate that. A person who needs the lie cannot afford to see clearly. Remember, lie is the currency too. Lie isn't the currency. What was the currency? Relief. The lie pays you relief. The lie gives you the relief. Relief is the currency. And they need that. Not they, we. I think we've all been there. So here's an unpopular implication that most commentary avoids because it's not flattering. The more a population refuses personal responsibility, the more it demands political mythology. So we're creating this unreal world through our political certainty and teams because we're refusing to become responsible ourselves. And that's what we're going to... I don't know why I'm breaking this down every time I read a sentence, but bear with me. That's what we're going to do in this. This is why I fought with this stupid paper. That's what we're going to do in the coming weeks. We're going to examine our own role in this disaster and accept responsibility and stop living in the political mythology. Because if a man will not govern himself, he will beg to be governed. I think that's a quote from somebody, but I don't know. If a man will not govern himself, he will beg to be governed and then call it justice. What if that's a quote from me? I feel like I've heard it before. That's why resentment is such an efficient political fuel. Resentment is moralized helplessness. It's the decision to sit in the wreckage of your own neglected potential and demand the world apologizes for the smoke. It's the refusal to carry the daily weight of competence, paired with the insistence that someone else must carry it for you. You follow? This is why certain words are used like narcotics. You ever notice that? People definitely use words. Words now are more powerful than drugs. As they say in Indiana Jones, the pen is mightier than the sword. Young, what was him? So you got Harrison Ford and Sean Connery as his dad. Indy. He would say, Indy, remember, the pen is mightier than the sword. As he shoots somebody with ink from his pen. Yeah, look it up. It's funny. I've lost my place. Bear with me. A person who needs the lie cannot afford to see clearly. If a man will not. Okay, that's why resentment is such a political fuel. Okay, here we go. That's why resentment is such an efficient political fuel. Resentment is moralized helplessness. We just read this. Okay. It is a decision to sit in the wreckage of your own neglected potential and demand. Oh my God, that's a good paragraph, but we read it twice. This is why certain words are used like narcotics. Safety, equity, democracy, freedom, rights, harm, hate, hateful. These words are not always lies. They are often noble words, and that's precisely why they are useful. You can hide a lot of coercion inside a sacred noun. You can smuggle a lot of appetite inside a moral label. The word does not clarify, it licenses. It gives the speaker power to move you without paying the price of a definition. A mature mind taxes language. It does not accept undefined holy words as payment. It demands receipts. That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. My mind, I wouldn't say it's a mature mind. I'm pretty sure it's closer to the other end of that spectrum. But when it says a mature mind taxes language, what I mean by that is you're always looking into the root of the word, the meaning of the word. Yeah, but you're using these words, but what do you mean? And you can go a little too far in some directions. I've done it a few times, taking it a little too far. But I'm not accepting these social justice, equity, democracy words without a definition. So it demands receipts, and that demand is expensive because it strips away the soothing fog. It forces you to live with complexity. It forces you to admit what modern politics hates admitting. You are finite. You do not see the whole board, and your tribe is not the kingdom of God. One reason the older world produced sturdier people is not that they had better souls. It's that their daily lives contain more unavoidable contact with reality. Tools had consequences. Weather had consequences. Food had consequences. Community had consequences. If you were wrong, you found out immediately, often painfully, and you adjusted or you suffered. There's nothing more clear than raising your own food. I was out today playing with the grandson in the sandbox and showing him my little tiller, little hand tiller. And I was thinking about all the... Because when you teach a 2-year-old, you're basically flipping on ancient switches. What the heck? Hold on. We got a problem. This is funny. Stand by. So I mentioned this in another show, but we actually just put up a bunch of security cameras around the house because my stepson, my wife's son, is a master installer of these camera systems, and he came as a Christmas present to hook us up. Well, I also put lights up for Christmas, and I left them on, and now they're going wild, and I thought I had turned them off. And it's literally like fucking Christmas, flashing red and green. So we need to turn that off. Okay, got it. Sorry about that. Got my monitor up there, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? It looks like freaking cops are here, but they're red and green. It's the Christmas cops. That's just so, you all crazies try and come. I'm going to see you coming. All right, where were we? So weather had consequences. The modern world padded corners. Okay. If you were wrong, you found out quickly, often painfully, and you either adjusted or you suffered. So I was thinking about teaching my 2-year-old step-grandson, the guy that did the cameras, his son. We call him the Little Nugget. Check out the Little Nugget show every night after the Denver Nuggets. And if you go back two nights ago, you'll see us live at Ball Arena after a convincing, resounding victory. We're on cloud 9 with the Nuggets right now. Watch me get distracted more today. Oh, yeah. So we watched them whoop up a 36-point win, 39-point win, or something like that over Houston. Lovely. Still undefeated every game we've gone to. Perfect record. 5-0, 7-0, somewhere in there. And anyway, we've had him babysitting for like this whole week. And it's fascinating to remember, because I have also a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, to remember how they learn and how valuable that time is between the age of 0 and 4. And how many parents fuck that up bad. And that's the beauty of grandparents, is grandparents can really focus in on teaching. Like, I can teach this kid anything right now. Anything. And he learns it. It's the most fascinating thing. I could teach him freaking quantum mechanics at this point. But we're out there tilling the soil, and I'm thinking in my mind, what connection is in his blood, his DNA, his human DNA, from the 100,000 years that we, or 10,000 years, whatever you believe, that we've been tilling the soil, because we know that soil can give us food if we do it right. And all the knowledge that we learn as humans, providing for ourselves, going out and killing animals, harvesting berries, understanding what to eat and what not to eat in the forest, developing agriculture, planting seeds, growing crops, all that's gone. All that's gone, and people just let it go in exchange for ding-dongs from the fucking 7-Eleven. And yet I have my 2-year-old out there tilling the soil, and he naturally just went after it. And that I was rejuvenated in my hope for humanity when I see this 2-year-old. Because I don't think it's that people don't have it in them anymore. I think it's that nobody's being taught. Nobody's being led right. This is a really burdensome burden that's come on me since the last 2 essays of the Grow Show. I got to a point where I was like, what do I write about next? And I was like, really troubled by what I saw in today's youth for various reasons. I work with the youth a little bit here and there. And I'm starting to see, and it's not just them. It's not them specifically. It's like, hey, I'm reconnecting with the world. I mean, it's weird. You're in high school and you know everything. You go to college and you're out there exploring and doing your bullshit in your college years. And then you go chasing after a job and a house and a car and a wife and all that stuff, and getting into the rat race, or partying like a rock star and dying before you're 40. I had a bunch of people that did that in my life. To each their own. But they're not around anymore, and we are. So we're chasing the picket fence and the house and the car and all this. And you slowly, as the older you get, the more isolated you get from your friends, usually, typically speaking. Or isolated in your job. You know, on average, I'm not saying everybody, but on average, I just work with these same 6 people in my little department. Every now and then we have a little corporate meeting with like 20 people and a Christmas party, and that's it. I have my 2 or 3 friends that we hang out with every so often, and then we see family on Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that's a typical life, right? You're isolated. So I've been even more isolated than that. Getting back out into the world and saying, hey, I want to coach kids, and I have been in basketball. Now I want to coach kids in track, which I love track. And it's not these specific kids. It's just the reality of the generations today. I mean, if you can't see that something's, I don't want to say wrong, I want to say off, then you don't understand the power of what's in front of us. The power of having everything you need to know right in front of you, and the ability to use it isn't that difficult. And yet, we're literally chained around the neck by algorithms being drug along. In whatever direction they want to drag you. You're like, I don't know what to think of it, but we're going to figure it out. Help me here. All right. The modern world padded the corners. It moved consequences further away. It created is it further or farther? Move consequences further. Yeah. Further would be to further someone's like intention. Farther is a distance. That's my guess. So it moved consequences farther away. It created the possibility of living an entire life inside commentary. Endless judgment, endless diagnosis, endless certainty without ever being corrected by the outcomes. That's a paradise for propagandists. And it's a hell for truth. So what does the resistance actually look like? Not a new set of podcasts, not a different tribe with better memes or better jerseys, not an endless obsession with what they're doing, what they are doing, who they are. They are the enemy. Resistance looks like recovering a relationship with reality that cannot be negotiated. It looks like building some form of competence that forces honesty back into the room. You can argue about economics all day, but a garden will expose you. You can perform morality online all day, but your marriage will expose you. You can scream about systems all day, but a child will expose you. Reality is not impressed by your explanations. And once you're trained by reality, something changes in the political realm. You start noticing the difference between words that describe and words that sedate. What's the other word for? Like what a narcotic would do. Sedate, yeah, but there's another word right there. I can see the difference between words that describe, truthful, words that sedate, lies. You start noticing when urgency is being used as a leash. You start noticing when a claim is designed to produce a feeling instead of illuminate a fact. That happens all the time. Claims designed to produce feelings. You start noticing when your outrage is being farmed like a crop. And that's what it is. We're like the little plants that they've planted in our pods with our little devices, and they're farming our outrage. The hardest part is that the clear sight costs you a form of comfort that modern life treats as a human right. The comfort of being morally certain while remaining personally unchanged. That comfort is the lie's paycheck. If you want to stop being gaslit, you would have to stop paying for your politics with your integrity. You'll have to become the kind of person who can stand in a dark kitchen with the power out and not fall apart. Who can still act, still think, still serve, and still tell the truth. Because when screens go black, the slogans don't cook dinner. The end, by the way. I just wanted to go back over this little section. Listen to it. I got a little splinter in my finger. It's driving me nuts. So the sentence, the hardest part is that the clear sight cost you. So when we're focused on pursuing eyes to see and developing a clear sight of what really is, outside of all this moral outrage and deception, in order to do that, it costs us what we had before, which is the comfort of being morally certain. Like, I know I'm right about what I think is right and wrong, and I'm comfortable about it, and you're absolutely wrong. But without being personally changed. Well, remaining unchanged, I should say. The hardest part. Clear sight costs you that form of modern that modern life treats as a human right. It's like everyone has the right to be right, but you need to be on my side to be right. And if you want to get through that comfort is the last paycheck. But if you want to stop being gaslit, you have to stop paying for your politics with your integrity, your character, your soul. You have to become the kind of person who can stand in the dark kitchen with the power out and not fall apart. I think about that like once a day. EMPs. Like, as soon as everything shuts off, I've thought through what I'm going to do 1,000 times. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do either. But imagine that. I think I brought it up in a last one of those Groucho essays about competence. Yeah, it was about competence. And how people could not survive a week in the forest right now. 99% of people, I would say, dead after a week or two. Because when the screens go black, slogans won't cook dinner. I'm not a very good cook either. So, but I do know how to kill things and animals, that is, and make them tasty over fire. And if you eat the entire animal, except the hair, cook the bones and all that, you have everything you need to live. You don't even need to eat lettuce. Yeah, the first thing I do is fire up my generator because I got 2 elk and 2 antelope still in my freezer and some nice fish, some tunas. I didn't catch those. I don't fish, but my friend does, and we trade elk for fish. But it would really suck to lose all that. Although I think I would basically just start packing up. I just need I'm not even going to tell you, but I have enough infrastructure to keep my family alive in the mountains indefinitely. In terms of shelter, food gathering devices, I mean, that's pretty much all you need. Food, water, shelter. But today's kids don't have the same thing. And the parents don't either. Maybe some of them do. Maybe I'm delusional. Why don't you just tell me? Tell me if I'm delusional. How are we going to proceed in politics now? I don't even want to look at... I don't even look at the shit on... It's like, I know during war, the first casualty of war is the truth. So don't believe anything you say or hear. And it is all propaganda. And for good reason. You don't want to know the dirty shit behind the scenes, behind the curtain of war. Oh, I went off my tab, so I'm going to see if we have any comments. Sorry. Oh, Piff's here. On the Eyes to See podcast at 45 minutes. Don't depend on the education system, Piff says. Don't depend on the education system right now. They are not teaching our kids nothing. You said that correctly. They are terrible. That's what I'm telling you. Designed obsolescence in maybe products and education. It's a set format. It's a set format. As soon as I want to do an HPS LED versus the COH. Well, this is a better topic for the Grow Show, but I will say that you will see. I'd be jealous to see what your HPS does, because I remember HPS is much better at pulling out. How do you describe LED HPS? Join me on the Grow Show. We'll figure it out. I haven't done HPS in forever, but I long for the day. The thing is, it's twice as much power and twice as much heat. Is it twice as much or more? Like 4 times the heat and twice as much power. So that's why LEDs work, is because you still get a pretty good product and profile. It's not necessarily as easy. I think it's a lot easier with HPS. And HPS can give you more. But anyway, that's that. So those are our comments. Back to politics. So when we're talking politics here, I'm going to click on my YouTube. Now you're only going to see track shit on my YouTube. And a little bit of war stuff. Apparently, I've stopped getting involved with with politics, because I see a few war things, but I'm sure everyone does. But it's mostly how to run, how to jump, jumping workouts, how to jump, how to run. This cheap supplement heals leaky gut after 1 dose. I wonder what that is. It's definitely not BPC 157, because that ain't cheap. I need to play next in queue. Oops, don't clear. Don't clear. Cancel.
I'm just going to say it.
Oh my goodness.
We don't have an FBI.
Okay. Brett Weinstein. What else do we have? I thought I had more politics, but we don't. Charlie Kirk. Basically, what happened to me was I was pretty politically motivated after COVID or during COVID. I thought, that is the most blatantly obvious fucking situation to me of deception and lies that I've ever seen in my life. And at this point, if you don't fucking see it, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's insane. Look up fibrotic clots, white fibrous clots. My wife sonograms clots in legs daily. COVID fucked the blood of humanity in the butthole. And now we're all poisoned. Some more than others, because some of you knuckleheads are putting that damn vaccine in your arm over and over and over again. And that's just literally building that spike protein Anyway, to me, it was a blatantly obvious tactic to shut society down for a specific reason. And I'm throwing my hands up like, how the fuck does most people not see this? How do they not see this? Well, you need to wear a mask. I mean, all of this shit has been proven wrong to this point. Not a day in my life would I wear a mask. People will say, you need to wear a mask or you need to leave, sir. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not wearing a mask. Fuck you. You need to leave. Okay, well, make me. And don't call me anti-authoritarian, or, although I am not. It was just blatantly obvious. Like, anyone that wears a mask when they're fucking working, that's the disconnect between, this is a perfect example. The disconnect between this world of people that exist in their little bubbles. It's like, oh, of course, a little mask is going to help me from getting COVID. But anybody that's worked in construction or asbestos or, just wearing dust mask and demolition, which I did years of, those masks are for a reason. They're for dust. The respirators are for a reason. They're for asbestos. But they're miserable to fucking wear. When you climb in an attic full of fiberglass and you're wearing a dust mask, you'd rather not wear it and just blow snot rockets full of fiberglass. You can actually make little boats out of them. Just kidding. The point is, the masks are miserable. Why? Because you're recirculating your fucking breath. It's the same thing if you have plants in a grow room. In a sealed grow room where you're using CO2. I feed my plants CO2. Why? Because plants breathe CO2. They literally take the C out of the O2, the C out of the CO2 and turn it into O2 and take the C and make the structure of the plant. It's called carbon. It's called anything with carbon in is organic. Anything organic is alive. Anything alive is biologique. So your plants are alive. They're pulling the carbon out of the earth, CO2. And it doesn't take much CO2. I mean, we're talking about 300 parts per million, 400 parts per million now, and increasing. And we like increasing CO2 levels in the atmosphere. Those of you that are deceived that think increasing CO2 levels in the atmosphere are dangerous for society, well, you're deceived because plants fucking love CO2. Will the weather change? Yes. Will your ski areas not get the snow they got before? Yes, some of them. And some of them will get hammered. And weathers might become more severe. But that's how weather's supposed to be. The plants love it. And if you think you're going to acidify the ocean because you got all the CO2, no. The ocean knows how to handle this shit. No, it would definitely help if we didn't dump so much fucking trash in the ocean. That's not good. I definitely agree with clean water, clean environments, clean everything. But this climate fucking carbon, why was I talking about carbon? I mean, we're just going down all these rabbit holes and I'm going to start ranting and raving. But I don't know. That's what this show's for, to figure out. No, apparently today's not the Eyes to See show. It's turning into a grow show. Showing comments from JZ from Canada. The vented ones are better for sure. Yeah, I had a 8-inch vented hoods. The biggest thing for LEDs for me was the lower heat and half as much electric. I'm using 490 watt lights instead of 1,000 watt lights. I'm not necessarily getting the same yields, but that has to do with other things. I have actually gotten the same yields. Oh, vented masks. I got you. Yeah, vented hoods. They're wonderful. You can suck out some of the heat, but not all of it. Vented masks. I just remember even this, some comedian was just like, does that mask stop you from smelling a fart? No. Well, it ain't going to stop you from getting COVID. Okay. But maybe I was just too anti-authoritarian, and now I'm not seeing the health benefits of recirculating the CO2 into your freaking body. Plants breathe CO2 to give us oxygen. We, not just us breathing out CO2, give the plants carbon, but everything that's alive breathes CO2. In death, in life, when you cut down a tree, it starts to decompose and it basically evaporates carbon into the air. When you burn down a forest, probably even when you burn down oil tankers in the middle of the Persian Gulf next to the Strait of Hormuz, that's the worst thing about this war is how much pollution there is. Like, you don't hear that much from the left. How much pollution that a war creates. I mean, I remember Genghis Khan changed the carbon footprint of the atmosphere because he killed 10% of the world's population or something. And it was just piles and piles of bodies decomposing. Put too much carbon in the atmosphere. And that's what we're doing when we burn fossil fuels. It's previous life forms, plants, animals that got smashed and decomposed into oil. And it's a carbon cycle that they will use to destroy us or we will use to overcome. Mixing soil. You use vented mask mixing soil. I know many times where I want to use a mask and I should use a mask and I'm too damn lazy, nor do I think it's comfortable enough to use the mask. But the older I get, the more I do. What was the latest time? The latest time I didn't was climbing in the attic for those cameras. One time. And my son did it like 100 times. But I was like, bro, you need to wear a mask. And he's like, why aren't you wearing one? I don't know. It's like, I don't want to wear one. Okay, cool. And then he's blowing out snot rockets full of fiberglass. But the body can survive a lot of things. The asbestos, maybe not. Anyway, now we're just spiraling out of control. So we have a goal, and I have to get back to work. We're about an hour. That makes sense. I promise on the next episode, next week, around Friday or Saturday, I don't know the schedule at least. Tomorrow we have a grow show. Or no, wait. If you ever need to know, just go to my channel, Flocka Watts, at Flocka Watts, and look under live, and you'll see what's up next. Assuming I have it up. Dude, why is my... What the hell? YouTube's a trip. I don't understand it. So the Lakers are scheduled for tomorrow. This show right now shows what? Latest. And then the Grow Show on the 15th, which is what, Sunday? 16th, Monday. And then Tuesday is a Nugget Show. Is this my week? Monday, and then Tuesday is a Nugget Show. That's me right there. Cancel. I don't know how they do that. Like, half the time I don't understand. Live now, eyes to see, 2 people watching. Wonderful. How about that thumbnail? That is a thumbnail I am proud of. It used to be red. And I was like, you know what? We need a black and white narrative. Why? Black and white is good for politics. Because everyone thinks they're black and white. I think I'm black and white. But how do we come to these realizations? How do we come to these understandings? What is your epistemological trajectory? Ontology is the study of what is. Epistemology is the ontology part, I guess, would be the study of knowledge and how one comes to know what is. So how do we get the knowledge that we have? That's the easiest way to look at it. And maybe next time I'll do a better job of structuring some actual political discussions for this show, because I'm open to all forms of debate and discussion. And sacred cows, we'll say. But yeah, we're going to need some engagement. So go ahead and engage, if you will. I'm going to have to hang it up for tonight. But let's see what JZ says one more time. Pollution is bad. Bunch of civilians dying is definitely up there with the worst parts of the war. True. But in reality, 3 million people die every year in the United States. And I think it's like 60 million people die in the world. And as many people are dying in the war, it's in the thousands at this point, and it may end up being a lot more. But in terms of modern war and the number of people that die, it is statistically smaller than, so think World War II, World War One, when you just literally machining guys down with belt-fed machine guns in trenches, and they're stacking bodies so much so that, 100 million people died in the 19th century or the 20th century fighting certain ideologies. 100 million people died. Now, I'm assuming the death toll right now in this Iran war is around 1,000. And that is definitely a tragedy, but so is, what was it, 3 million? I think it's like, how many people die every day in the world?
Good question. Let me check the latest numbers. Right now, on March 14th, 2026, about 174,000 people die worldwide every day. That comes from UN projections. Think around 174,194, give or take a few hundred depending on the tracker. It's roughly...
Okay, 174,000 per day. And the war has been going on for 2 weeks. So 174,000 times 14 equals 2.4 million. And about 1,000 of them, I don't know, maybe it's a couple thousand, but that is less than 0.001% relative to the war. And I'm not saying that those deaths are not, unfortunate, especially if your military member family is one of them that died, or it's your, I finally got that splinter out. But the amount of just money that's going up in smoke, the amount of smoke that's going up in smoke, each rocket that goes off burns out 10,000 gallons of fuel or whatever it is, rocket fuel. And they're shooting them off, 5,000 targets hit, one after another, blowing up oil tankers. I'm like, guys, yeah, I don't want to hear any more discussion. About, me recycling my shit or any pollution until you address that problem, the pollution of war. That's my next paper. We're going to do the pollution of war, the pollution problem at war. Yeah, plague. Yeah, I hear you. To me, it's the same. Call me morbid, but everyone fucking dies in a relative sense. You look at a window of 300,000 years and you're going to live for 30 to 80, maybe 100 if you're lucky. It's a blip on the map. I always tell my kids, we're already dead anyway. Live like you're already dead. That way you basically live like you're not afraid of dying. But yes, I think that still more people are killed on the daily in the U.S. than are in this war in Iran. Or it's hard to say Iran instead of Iraq. I'm going to keep getting distracted with that. Anyway, this show's over. We already passed an hour. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your commenting. And the Grow Shows, for those of you Grow Show fans, will commence Sunday and Monday. Tomorrow's Little Nugget. And tonight was Eyes to See, Vision Beyond the Narrative, a political discussion of politics and current events. Good night.